This morning I received multiple links and copies of this video that's been circulating showing a West Virginia state trooper in what appears to be inside a family's home without a warrant. Apparently it was originally posted to Tik Tok, which I don't use, and then removed for some reason. It appears to involve a police response to a church traffic cone, which resulted in the homeowner apparently banging on the church's door at some point. This trooper shows up, walks in the guy's home, admittedly without a warrant and without permission. Here's the video, then I'll address some of the legal issues which I see.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Trooper Wiseman. I'm also recording. What is your problem?
Where is your recording device?
Doesn't matter.
Yes,
What's your issue?
That's how it was. We just let
Hello. What's your issue?
Where is your recording device?
Doesn't matter. What's your issue? Do you have an issue or do you not?
Yes, I do.
Well, then let's hear it.
They had a cone in the middle of the road. I almost hit it.
So you go down beating on the church, interrupting a service because you almost hit a cone in the road.
Yes, I did.
And that's the problem.
Yes, sir. Is that
Please
okay?
go to your bedroom, please.
No,
You guys stay here.
no, it's not okay that you're going down there beating on the church.
It is okay.
No, actually, it's not okay. Actually, it's against the law.
It's against the law.
It is against the law to go and beat a
Do you
door
have
in
a
the church.
recording device on you?
I told you, are you drunk? Are you high? Or something wrong with you? Because
I
I
am
told
not
you
drunk.
4 times.
Sir, I
Did you come in my house without my permission?
Yes, I sure did. I'm going to follow you. If you go in a house, I'm coming after you. I don't know what you're coming in here. Officers getting shot every single day. I ain't going to let you shoot me.
We don't
You
have
understand?
no reason to shoot anybody.
Well, that's what everybody says.
In the road, take a picture of them.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Where's your recording device?
You've asked me that now 6 times.
What is your name and your
I
badge?
already told you that also.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did. So are you high or
You're-
drunk?
He's not high or drunk.
Then what's
You're
wrong
being
with him?
very hostile.
Well, like I said, I'm not dealing with this. You have a problem. There was a cone in the road. Anything else?
This is upsetting.
No, she is not
Good.
coming there.
Why? I want to talk to her.
No.
Are you going to make a complaint, or are you just?
Yes, I
That's
am.
all we wish.
Well, make
What-
your complaint.
What is your name and your badge
I've already
number?
told you that. If you can't remember that, that's on you.
You did not, sir.
And if you can't read, it's right here. So I don't know what to tell you.
What is your name and badge number?
There it is. You see it, bub?
Come out here. I was
You got your recording right there. Anything else?
there's cones in the road. Take a picture and we'll address the church. Acting like
Can I read your name?
I don't know. Can you read?
Yes, sir. Don't.
Listen. I'm not playing this game with you. There was a road cone. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? 'Cause I'm not going to sit here all day and play games with you.
That's the only problem.
Okay.
You come in my house without my permission.
Good. Go sue. I don't want to tell you. I've told you why I came in. I ain't letting you shoot me. You understand that?
I don't have a gun, do
How do
I?
I know you don't have a gun?
Look at me.
How do I know you don't have a gun?
Look at me, sir.
Do not raise your voice to me. You understand me?
Out of my house.
No, I will not.
You do not have a right to come in here.
You will not raise your voice to me. You
We
understand
just
me?
bought that phone.
I don't care what you just bought. You went down there, pounding on the freaking church door,
What?
acting like a fool. I'm not going to deal with that. You
You
understand
just
me? You're not going to raise your voice to me.
You just walked in our house. and-
That's right, because I am not getting shot. You understand me? If you don't have any more complaints, we're going to go. I'll have a warrant on you later for disturbing a church service. Anything else, sir?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
I'm going to
That's fine. That's awesome.
You-
My name is Trooper Wiseman. Follow all the charges you want. You understand?
You'd have to have a warrant to enter my home.
Actually, I don't. Why don't you
Yes,
study
you
your
do.
law?
You do.
What? Then guess what? You get to suing, you get to complaining. We'll go from there.
This could
Have
have
a
been
good
handled
day.
a lot better.
Can you
Don't
shake
you
my
walk
hand?
behind me. No,
Please shake my hand. Please, sir, will you shake my hand, sir? What's your name and badge number?
Rainer.
Don't close my door. This is my house. What is your name?
Sir!
Ow!
Get out! Leave right now and don't ever come back here.
Ow! You broke my fingers.
Okay, to be clear, I know nothing about the situation other than what's apparent from watching the video. So what do we know? The purpose for the officer's presence appears to be for something relatively minor, a dispute of some sort between this guy and a church. What are the details? Who knows? They don't sound all that exciting by West Virginia standards. We also know that there is no warrant. The officer claims that he was justified to enter and remain inside the man's home due to his subjective concern that the individual could theoretically shoot anyone at any given moment, including him. We also know that the guy is not in the home with the homeowner's permission. That much is said twice, I believe, during the video. Also, we see that there appears to have been some sort of use of force by the trooper. He definitely strikes the camera Whether or not the guy holding the camera was struck or not, we can't really see, but it does sound that way. So here are some of the questions presented, in my opinion. Is this officer correct that he could just walk in somebody's home under these circumstances and remain there? So let's go over the basics of how the Fourth Amendment applies to the home. The Fourth Amendment protects the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. That's Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The Supreme Court has held that with few exceptions, warrantless searches are per se unreasonable under the Fourth Amendment. That's Katz versus United States, Supreme Court 1967. So if you go to the post on this on my website, on my blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com, I'll put all this information there, all these citations there, so you can review at your convenience. So at the very core of the Fourth Amendment stands the right of a man or a woman to retreat into his home and there to be free from unreasonable governmental intrusion. With few exceptions, the question whether a warrantless search of a home is reasonable and hence constitutional must be answered no. Supreme Court of the United States, 2001, Kylo versus United States. Here we go. Inside the home, searches and seizures which take place in a person's home are presumptively unreasonable, which means that they are illegal as the default rule, according to the Fourth Amendment. Now, outside the home, Fourth Amendment protections only apply outside the home where there's a reasonable expectation of privacy. But searches or seizures inside a home require a warrant or a valid exception. Let's talk exceptions. The primary exception is consent. A search conducted pursuant to a valid consent is constitutionally permissible. Voluntariness is the standard. Was the defendant or the homeowner in this case, was their will overborne? Voluntariness of a consent depends on the totality of the circumstances. A case you can look at is Shencloth versus Bustamante, Supreme Court 1973. Officers may seek these consent-based encounters if they're lawfully present in the place where the consensual encounter occurs. That's Kentucky versus King, Supreme Court 2011. Other than consent, the only valid exception when we're dealing with a home is exigent circumstances. Law enforcement may enter a home without a warrant when they have an objectively reasonable basis for believing that an occupant is injured or imminently threatened with injury. This is known as exigent circumstances and generally refers to some sort of emergency situation, the need to protect or preserve life or avoid serious injury. That's justification for what would otherwise be illegal absent in exigency or emergency. Now, this is an objective rule. The officer's subjective motivation is legally irrelevant. That's what the courts look at, the objectively reasonable officer. And that's usually the case in civil rights analyses. An action is reasonable under the Fourth Amendment, regardless of whether the individual police officer's state of mind was reasonable or not, as long as the circumstances viewed objectively justify the action. You can look at Brigham City versus Stewart, Supreme Court 2006. So, exigent circumstances can also apply, as well as consent, to allow entry under some limited circumstances to prevent the imminent destruction of evidence. This is the more controversial side of exigent circumstances. Case you can look at, Supreme Court, Minnesota versus Olson, 1990. Also, if an officer is in hot pursuit of a fleeing suspect, Supreme Court, 1976, in the case of United States versus Santana. But remember, police cannot create their own exigent circumstances by engaging or threatening to engage in conduct that violates the Fourth Amendment. Their conduct must be reasonable. Kentucky versus King, Supreme Court, 2011. Now, a home's front porch, including the area immediately surrounding the home, also enjoys protection as part of the home itself. Where information is gathered by police by physically entering and occupying that area without consent, it's a search of the home. Therefore, if a police officer enters a home without a warrant, it's presumptively a Fourth Amendment violation, unless there's valid consent or exigent circumstances. But is the Fourth Amendment triggered by just entering a home or even standing on the porch. Understand that we have two different things. You have consensual encounters, and then you have Fourth Amendment searches or seizures. Consensual encounters do not trigger the Fourth Amendment. As a general matter, police officers are free to approach and question individuals without necessarily affecting a seizure. Rather, a person is seized within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment only when the officer, by means of physical force or a show of authority, has in some way restrained the liberty of a citizen. That's Terry versus Ohio, Supreme Court, 1968. Such a seizure can be said to occur when, after considering, again, the totality of the circumstances, the court concludes that a reasonable person would have believed that he was not free to leave. Similarly, when police approach a person at a location that they do not necessarily wish to leave, the appropriate question is whether that person would feel free to terminate the encounter. You can look at Florida versus Bostic, Supreme Court, 1991. A traffic stop, for instance, is always a seizure under the Fourth Amendment. Entering a home to engage in conduct not explicitly or implicitly permitted by the homeowner is likewise a seizure under the Fourth Amendment. Florida versus Jardines, Supreme Court, 2013. Hence, if there was no warrant for this state trooper to engage in a search or seizure inside this home, his doing so would be, or is, presumptively unconstitutional as a violation of the Fourth Amendment. He clearly did not have consent to be inside this home. It was evident and apparently undisputed if you watched the video that the officer entered without permission and wasn't welcome in the home. It's also apparent if you watch the video that this officer didn't care. Thus, without consent, entering and occupying the home against the will of the homeowner, a Fourth Amendment seizure occurs, which is presumptively unconstitutional. Now, don't forget that he also, if you watch the video, seizes the camera that's recording him, which is perhaps also a seizure of the homeowner himself inside his home, along with the footage that he's recording. And that very well may implicate the First Amendment as well as the Fourth, as you have a very clearly established right to record the police inside your own home, for sure. Now, whether this officer, who ironically is also recording inside the guy's home, likes that or not. So what about exigent circumstances? The officer implies that he's relying on exigent circumstances, though he doesn't say that. He implies it, that he followed the homeowner into the house, worried that he might get shot by him. But he provides no details supporting his alleged concern. I'm skeptical that really there's any basis for this. I mean, he can't call it hot pursuit of a fleeing suspect because the guy doesn't appear to have been under arrest. So this is where the officer's body cam footage, if it indeed exists, which it appears to because you can see a camera there on his abdomen, that footage would come in handy. I'd also like to review the 911 records and the 911 and dispatch audio in order to fully really understand the facts. But it seems a stretch to me to justify exigent circumstances based on what we see in this video. If he was truly in hot pursuit, he would have seized the guy immediately and taken him into custody, rather than walk in the house and do more of what appears to be a knock and talk conversation, which by definition isn't supposed to happen in the guy's living room. I'm sure there's quite a bit of case law specifically on this sort of situation, exactly as it happens in this video. But this is all just Fourth Amendment 101, just generally speaking, without even having to research this particular scenario. Which again, I don't know the details, haven't seen any paperwork on it, haven't talked to the people, just saw the video. And I appreciate you guys sending me videos. This is an interesting one that does cause a lot of people to have a lot of questions. Lastly, there just doesn't appear to be any emergency here. Doesn't appear to be any medical emergency. There's no indication that someone's flushing cocaine down the toilet. There's no baby choking, and so on. So to answer your questions that some of you have sent me already, it looks pretty bad to me. And I wouldn't doubt if this trooper might actually get his wish to be sued, assuming the homeowner wanted to do so. I also wouldn't be surprised if disciplinary action is taken here, given the fact that this video is now out there. However, obviously more information is needed to evaluate what in my opinion, would be his only likely avenue of defense, and that's exigent circumstances. Again, just my 2 cents. I'll be happy to provide an update if I learn more about it. Thanks for watching.